J.D. Vance. James Comey and Letitia James are obviously guilty. FBI surveillance tape shows Tom Hooman accepting a $50,000 bribe in a paper bag. And J.D. Vance. Tom Hooman is obviously innocent. J.D. Vance was so much better when he just had the rainbow hat and the lollipop. But now I guess he thinks corruption's okay if it's his corruption? Right. How many threaders stand with Charlie Kirk? We are friends now. Charlie Kirk doesn't stand anymore, child. Bit brutal. Sean Duffy says the No Kings protest this Saturday are really frustrating because they are all paid Antifa people? Wait, we get paid? Can someone tell me, where I get my, billionaire leftist lobbyist paycheck from? Yeah, because if everyone else is getting paid, I don't see why I shouldn't. I really want my George Soros paycheck. Yeah. This is a pic of the upcoming participants in the No Kings March on October 18th. If I'm a Republican up for re-election, this has got to scare the hell out of me. Whoa, wait a second. You're telling me that people are gonna, protest against a fucking fascist that's trying to take over their country? Really crazy that. But hey, it's honestly really good to look at little charts like this. There are more people against this than you would think. And as much as it's easy to be pessimistic, there's still people in the fight, and there still will be. 47% of Americans say groceries are harder to afford than they were last year, per Axios. Wait, but I thought Trump equals low prices. This math doesn't math. The propaganda told me otherwise. Over the last 4 years, you would see wall-to-wall coverage in the news media and people posting their grocery hauls as to how expensive food is. And now I literally never see it. How odd. How odd. He's not some fucking peacemaker. He's a convicted felon and paedophile who attempted an insurrection and tried to have his vice president murdered. I really don't know how this fucking man-child got himself into the White House. Not once, but twice, in 2 separate occasions, with a president between them. Idiocracy's more than a movie, eh? Looks like Trump doesn't like his time cover. Yes, the biggest concern of the president. The way he looks on the cover of a magazine. Something Idiocracy? Yeah. Time magazine wrote a relatively good story about me, but the picture may be the worst of all time. They disappeared my hair, and then they had something floating on the top of my head that looked like a floating crown, but an extremely small one. Do you think he's triggered that there was a crown on his head, or that it was small? I think it's probably that it was small. Really weird. I never liked taking pictures from underneath angles, but this is a super bad picture, and deserves to be called out. What are they doing, and why? Jesus. I really did get rid of his hair. I don't even think that's photoshopped. I think that's just with how grey his hair is. It just makes him look bald in the sunlight. Jesus. That's what you look like, dude. No. According to his medical reports, he's in the peak of his lifetime, at 80-ish years old. Jesus fucking Christ. The MAGA cult has done him no favors by constantly photoshopping him into something he's not. He believes he looks like a superhero now. True, but he's the one photoshopping himself. No, there's no such thing as Photoshop. That's fake news. He's basically a spitting image of Henry Savelle. He is the peak of human evolution. Fucking guy deporting kids with brain cancer is crying about a picture of his wattle. Well, yeah, as a president, and the best president to ever president, you know, his primary concern should always be what he looks like on a Time magazine, you know, except the cost of living crisis, geopolitics, trade, not crashing the economy, not turning it into fascism, you know, all of those things. Yeah, no, those are secondary to Time magazine. Ugh. There has to be a way to get Republicans to see this as an American event rather than a liberal one. It's almost been a year and they still don't get that running a country only for one side just doesn't work. We're fighting for everyone because we know that the content requires both sides to function. So they should be out there fighting for America also. MAGA doesn't care because they're the ones in power. Political narcissism or political narcissism? If the shoe fits, Cinderella. They know this because anytime a Dem is president, it's 24/7 propaganda about how Dems were going to weaponize the government against the other side. MAGA only cares about themselves and will happily sell America to the highest bidder to increase their bottom line. You cannot reason someone out of a position they didn't reason themselves into. Hey chat, if you guys are enjoying the Schadenfreude, you should totally like, subscribe and share, cause it helps this gay guy reading stuff a lot. Anyways, thanks for watching, and back to the video. My portfolio is down a bunch. The only thing keeping me going is that we're finally getting a Qatari military facility in America. Yay! You know, definitely not a result of like bribery or corruption or anything. Of course not, 1,000,000% not. You know, this is just a trade. Yes, a trade. A very good business deal. You know, a gifted jumbo jet for a military base. I have my doubts whether this military base will ever be built. Not the least because the Trump administration seems to have an ever-widening gap between what they intend to do and what they're actually capable of doing. But I deeply appreciate the irony of them choosing Idaho for that plan. The Nazis and skinheads who moved to Idaho to build their white utopia must be losing their fucking minds right now. As they should. That's what they get for being racist pieces of shit. I hope the leopards are full after that. Yeah, they would be pretty pissed if they could read. I mean, wait, if the skinheads don't like it, the base will suddenly be Biden's fault. Sorry, but like, did you not see Biden forcibly make Trump take that gift, and then force Trump to allow Qatar to build a military base in America? Yeah, that happens. But like, he's also simultaneously like demented and can't do anything. Yeah. 19-year-old as a board of director for TikTok? LMAO. Barron Trump tipped for top TikTok job. The US president's 19-year-old son could be appointed to the app's board. Definitely not to get the Trump dynasty into TikTok, you know, one of the primary sources of information for younger people. You know, probably to push MAGA propaganda and that sort of thing. Yeah, definitely not that. You know, it's so innocent, guys, because we all know that the Trump family and Donald fucking Trump is the most innocent person on the planet. Are you fucking kidding me? I think I felt better knowing that I was giving my data to China. God, I didn't even think of that. Not even just the propaganda, the data harvesting they're gonna do. Oh, God. If the Trumps get their dirty, tiny little hands on it, my TikTok account is getting deleted. Yep, there goes my TikTok. People should have deleted TikTok years ago, when it became a right-wing propaganda machine. I mean, it kinda is. It's nowhere near what fucking Twitter's like now. But, I mean, yeah, still pretty bad. But, oh my god, what they're gonna do to it when a Trump gets in. Oh. Goodbye, my funny cat clips and that sort of thing. I'm gonna miss you. And if you haven't deleted it yet, today is probably the best time. My funny cat clips. What am I gonna do without my cat clips? Oh my god, the Trumps. They're gonna ruin my funny cat clips. My For You page is gonna be replaced by fucking MAGA propaganda instead of cat clips. I keep Facebook because I'm old and so are my friends. I never got into Twitter because it's rare that I can edit myself down to 280 characters. I avoided TikTok and Instagram because I only have the bandwidth to do one social media site. Also, G+ never took off. Hello everyone, Antifa is not a real organisation. The Proud Boys are, the Oath Keepers are, Patriot Front is, the KKK is, Heritage Foundation is, but Antifa is not. Thanks for your attention. Yeah, if it is an organisation with like leadership, can someone tell me who the leaders are? And don't just say the woke mind virus or some bullshit like that. An organisation's usually meant to have a leader, right? Right, but those organisations are working for him, not against him. Trump has been associated with the mafia forever, and the mafia were used to fight the Klan at some point. The crossing of wires over the years has been quite interesting. Republicans always argued that the KKK was started by the Democrats. No one ever contested that fact. However, when you ask where they are now, they never seem to answer that question. I can't make it any simpler than this. Donald Trump shows what happens when you never had a boss. I mean, technically he does have a boss now. You know, the people, the voters of the United States. But I don't think he sees it like that. I think he sees them more as his loyal subjects. Because he is king after all. My dad died when I was 18. My mum scrubbed toilets and drove school buses. I bartended to help her and still won a congressional primary at 28. I'll take my family over a fat bank account any day. And my experience makes me a better legislature. I am the people that I work for. The GOP and MAGA tells them to be. She's also a democratic socialist, both of which are bad words to them. As in, she's young, pretty, a person of colour, and outspoken. She's literally everything right-wing cis-het traditional wasps despise. And that's why they try going on a smear campaign against her so much. But you can't really smear someone who's open about their history. Now let's look at Trump. Wait. Did it last long enough for Trump to get his Nobel Peace Prize? He didn't even win it. Major breaking news. Israeli forces just opened fire on Palestinians, killing 5 during the ceasefire. The IDF claims that they crossed a yellow line. Local reports said that they were inspecting bombed homes. So much for a pause. Yeah, despite this so-called ceasefire, it's not a ceasefire. The genociding party is still gonna genocide, and I still find it honestly so crazy that people try to act like it's anything but. I have a hard time believing Trump literally had anything to do with the ceasefire to begin with. Everyone was just, yeah, fine, here's your trophy. The Biden administration negotiated it almost a year ago. Then the paedophile Trump and the war criminal Netanyahu conspired to delay it for political gain, at the cost of thousands of people's lives. Yeah, people like this should not be in office. Ever. Literally have no clue why they still are. Yep. Same exact agreement. Trump is a fucking global joke and farce that can't even extract himself from an umbrella. Well, yeah, I mean, he is just some basically man-child nepo baby who has literally never had to suffer in his life. So yeah, it's really not surprising that no one takes him seriously.